Hey everyone. So my first documentary this year will be about the Rose Bowl game presented by Capital One. We're going to talk about the history of the game, where it began, when it began, and just the overall history and tradition of the Granddaddy of Them All, as it's affectionately known. So here we go. The Rose Bowl game was originally known as the Tournament East-West Football Game, the first Tournament of Roses football game. The first postseason college football game in the nation was staged at Tournament Park on January 1st, 1902. This particular contest featured the Stanford Cardinal taking on the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan routed Stanford 49 to nothing, prompting the football contest to be replaced with Roman-style chariot races inspired by the literary classic Ben-Hur. The football game was permanently reinstated as part of the tournament's traditions in 1916. The exclusive agreement among the Tournament of Roses Association, the Big Ten Conference, and the Pac-12 Conference was born in 1946, and the first game played under the agreement took place on January 1st, 1947. The Pact is the oldest intercollegiate postseason bowl agreement between two major conferences in the U.S. This collegiate classic has been the occasion of many firsts. The Rose Bowl game was the first local radio broadcast of an East-West bowl game in 1926, the first transcontinental radio broadcast of a sporting event in 1927, the first local telecast of a college football game in 1948, the first national telecast of a college football game in 1952, the first coast-to-coast color telecast of a college football game in 1962, and in 2015, this game was the site of the first ever college football playoff semifinal, which pitted Florida State versus Oregon. In one of the more memorable Rose Bowl games back in 2006, Texas quarterback Vince Young led the Longhorns to a come-from-behind victory over USC 41-38 to win the national title. The most recent edition of the Rose Bowl took place on New Year's Day at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, home of the Dallas Cowboys. This game featured number 1 Alabama versus number 4 Notre Dame. This game was not even close as the Crimson Tide rolled over the Fighting Irish 31-14. This game was moved from Pasadena due to COVID-19 restrictions in the state of California that prohibited spectators being in the grandstands. And in case you were wondering, this is not the first time that the Rose Bowl has been played somewhere besides Pasadena. The only other time it took place was back in 1942. The 1942 Rose Bowl was played on Thursday, January 1st. Originally scheduled to be played at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, it was moved to Durham, North Carolina at the University of Duke due to fears about an attack by the Japanese on the west coast of the U.S. following the Pearl Harbor attacks on December 7, 1941. The federal government prohibited large public gatherings on the west coast for the duration of World War II. The first significant canceled event was the Rose Bowl game, and the Oregon State Beavers of the Pacific Coast Conference, or known as the PCC, defeated the hosting Duke Blue Devils of the Southern Conference 20-16 at Duke Stadium, which is now known as Wallace Wade Stadium. Donald Durden of Oregon State was named Player of the Game when the award was created in 1953 and selections were made retroactively. My overall impression of the Rose Bowl game is that the tradition and history surrounding the event is what truly makes this game legendary and historic. It's one of the most must-see college football games every single year, and it features the best of the best in the nation. This is a game that, as a college football fan, needs to be on your bucket list for sure, because I know for me, it's on mine. Here's to seeing a packed house of this historic game again someday sooner than later. Thank you for watching this video today, and stay tuned to watch me get crafty in next week's video. Stay safe and healthy out there. God bless.